Hey folks, good morning. It's breakfast with the Beachside CEO. We're here at Maple Street cranking it out again today. I tell you what, this is one heck of a company to say the least. When you study, I just challenge you guys, go to their website, maplestreetbiscuitcompany.com, and study their values, study what their mission is, and you will very quickly understand why we've aligned, why this company is a place where I hang out in the mornings. This is not just a restaurant to me. Obviously, it's my portable studio too. But the main thing, this is the fun thing about this, when you actually get to know, no matter where the Maple Street is, when you get to know the team that's here, when you get to know what they stand for themselves, second to none. It's just a great place. They really have taken the concept of putting a third place in someone's life where they go, not just home, not just work, but hey, where can I just go hang out with friends and family with a local flair? It's definitely the Maple Street Biscuit Company. Also, 9 Line. Don't know if you guys can see it. We'll raise it up a little bit here. Boom. 9 Line clothing line, phenomenal. If you're a vet, they're owned by vets, American made. Just some powerful stuff. This is Constitution Week, so my shirt that I'm actually wearing, the back of it talks about the Constitution of the United States. And you guys know, I mean, it's everyone that watches, and we're watching the demographics, so we've got viewers from across the globe, but it's fun to see other viewers just as proud about their country, being a proud, patriotic nationalist for your country, just excited about, that's what it's all about. Hey, I want to get into something today that I think is very important, because we've seen the rise of the youpreneur. Chris Ducker from the UK, who is just a mentor and a half to me, coined the phrase, probably is trademarked youpreneur by now, but that's really what we are starting to see with the whole world. You hear about side hustles, you hear about the gig economy and all that good stuff. And personally, to me, it's about you. It is about that youpreneur. It's most of us are not going out there to be some kind of big entrepreneur. We're not going to go out there and launch something giant. And here's why I say that. It's just not in our DNA. It's not what our makeup is. Not everyone is going to have that driving force that a Michael Dell had or a Steve Jobs had, or the boys over there at Google. We all start with these dreams. We all start with what we want, but we don't usually know what our value is. And a lot of times, because it is a side hustle, the goal isn't even to quit our day job. We might enjoy what we're doing. So today I want to hone that in a little bit, and I'm going to take some notes, because here's something you guys, or I'm not going to take notes. You're going to need, but I'm going to go off notes. One of the things you guys need to understand is when I'm doing some of these, it's to create a new training course, or it's to dig deeper into something that we're going to be talking to some clients about, or giving a presentation on. So I don't want to keep all of the nuggets. A lot of guys will just keep the nuggets of what they're doing and then say, hey, if you pay me $495 and come to my event, I will tell you all the secrets. I don't want to do that. I want you guys to be thinking this stuff through, because that makes something living. It makes it live. When you guys give me feedback, when some of you give me private messages, I'm able to say, wow, I didn't think of it like that. We need to make a tweak. We need to change, or here's what the grassroots are saying. And I think at the end of the day, that is one of the most important pieces of being a youpreneur, is that you need to fully understand, hey, what is it that the audience needs? What is it the demographic needs that you're trying to penetrate, that you're trying to walk into? So, that's the important part. So I want to look at a few things here. One of the things that we talk about consistently inside of the home-based business, inside of the Soho small office, home office niche, if you will, those cottage industries, is financial freedom. That's just, you see it across everything. You see it on Facebook, you see it in Facebook ads, you see it on the internet. Financial freedom. Write this question down. How much does financial freedom cost for you? How much does financial freedom cost for you? Here's where I'm going with that. Just to say you have financial freedom, it's kind of ambiguous, because everyone's threshold is different. For Paige and I, we have 9 kids total that we have, ranging from 36 down to 10. Then we have 3 grandchildren that are with us constantly. That's just the beauty of our life, is we always have grandkids around. Then we have at least 3 of 3 grandkids as moms that we're helping to take care of, that are not our biological children at all. They're the mamas of these children, but they're single moms for whatever reason from our older boys. So it's like, okay, we want to take care of them. We've got our adult daughters that periodically need stuff, because one of them's in college, one of them's married, and her husband are just getting started. You guys know how it was when you were in that place. Jetty, who's 16, we went out and last year got him a couple of cars. He's got a couple of VWs that he wanted, replacing those. Now he's saying, hey, I want to go live in Australia for a year when I turn 18. So there's always the planning. Now we haven't even touched on the fact we got the health care, we got dentist, we got all the school supplies, you got gymnastics, you got art classes, you got dance. So our financial freedom threshold, how much do we need, is going to be different than yours. But we never talk about what that is. What's my value? What is the value of financial freedom? Now in Paige and I's case, we've narrowed this down pretty good, because your financial freedom value also needs to stretch past your lifetime. Meaning, if Troy passes away, how much of my income, understand, you guys all know, if you follow me for a while, Paige is a romance writer, writes for Harlequin, writes for Barber Publishing, does a lot of her own stuff, and it's in her self-publishing now because she's gotten her original rights back. We do stuff over on Amazon. So I provide a certain amount of income for the family. She provides a certain amount of income from the family. So part of our financial freedom threshold is, hey, what happens if or when Troy's no longer with us? Matter of fact, I'm going to use a living example, not giving any names. A dear friend of Jetty's and a friend of mine who's from church on Saturday passed away unexpectedly of a heart attack. Made it through the first operation, didn't make it through the second operation, gone like that. When that happens, you need to have life insurance, death protection, okay, to carry that on. That all plays into that, but you don't know how much that is until you know what your financial threshold, what is it that you need to carry on, because carrying on the lifestyle in which your family has grown accustomed is part of financial freedom. Understand, financial freedom and financial independence are 2 different things. And a lot of times we don't talk about that. We get into the rhetoric and all that of trying to build a business of some kind. We don't think these things through. And more now I'm finding that not just youpreneurs, but entrepreneurs have built these businesses that are doing $500 million a year. When you sit down and talk to them, they have no will made up. They have no trust made up. They have no succession plan made up. As a youpreneur, as somebody that's looking for a side hustle, somebody that's in the cottage industry, somebody that's in network marketing, you need to have this planned out. If you don't have your personal business plan put together, then it's hard to make it. It's hard to move forward. Matter of fact, I think, I'm going to look at one of the other notes that I wrote down on this topic today, because I think this is good. You guys know that I just grew up with John Maxwell's coaching and training. His son-in-law is a good friend of mine. I've been a catalyst from the very beginning. So something that I've pulled from Maxwell that I think is phenomenal here, and I want to quote him, not quote him, but I'm going to use these. Youpreneurs fall into basically 3 mindsets, if you will. And it doesn't matter if you were a janitor at a hospital or you've been that freedom spirit freelancer your whole life. This is how we read ourselves. We either read ourselves as doing a job, hey, this is just my job, always looking for something better, it doesn't matter what. Or you look at something as building a career. This is where my career is, this is what I'm doing. Or the third, and this is the one I'm going to hone in on, you're fulfilling your calling. You know what your purpose is. See, the first two don't necessarily line up with your purpose. Matter of fact, living here on the beach, I don't know how many times I've met doctors, attorneys, CPAs who open up restaurants, they open up beach shops, they open up hotels, because they say, look, man, that was what my job was, or that's what my career was, but here's what my passion is. I found so many of our boat captains down here, man, they buy a boat, they go fishing, they love it, and then they start telling their friends about it. Their friends come hang out with them, and the next thing you know, they've got a charter service started because all of a sudden the like-minded people start hanging around doing their stuff. So when you look at that, you have to know, okay, how am I looking at my life currently in order to know what my financial freedom quotient is? So we look at that, and you need to look at that. Okay, how much is my financial freedom worth? What is my value to that? What is my living expenses? What do I need to look at them from that standpoint? How much do I need to have in the bank if something was to go wrong today? When you look at Dave Ramsey, he calls that the emergency fund. How much do you need to have in your emergency fund? If you're a home business entrepreneur, I'm going to tell you this right now. You need to have at least 6 months of full-blown living expenses setting in just a small savings account that if you need to tap it, you can tap it. That's also going to be able to help you when you're actually sitting there and saying, man, the washing machine just broke or whatever just broke. That helps you pull that in. So put on paper, okay, here's what my living expenses are. Here's what I need. Here's what I desire. And if there's an emergency that comes into play, if I pass away, here's how much life insurance I have. Here's how much savings we have in the bank. Because what that does is that gives you the baseline. I think Paige and I have come up with a baseline, and I'm not, this isn't for everybody. Okay, but we know based on where our net worth is today, based on what our living expenses are today, based on what we believe our adjusted gross living, adjusted gross living expenses will be in the future. Kids going to school, kids going to Australia, underwriting that, helping mothers, helping the sons, whatever the case is. We know that, okay, for if something happened to Troy today, then Paige needs to have liquid assets of around $2 million. That liquid assets earning about 4 to 5% a year. You can do that in a variable annuity easy because some years would be higher, some would be lower, but you know what the baseline is. That would give her what she needs to continue to live in the lifestyle she's grown accustomed to, as well as make sure that there's money growing to continually go up for the kids and whatever those expenses are. Now, a lot of people don't think this through, and I suggest a good friend of mine, feel free to tell him that I sent you over there. He's my asset protection and my, I don't know what else he calls himself. It's just my asset protection attorney, Scott Burnett and Associates. No, I don't have an affiliate link or anything. He's taking care of everything I've done, takes care of a lot of my clients, corporate and individual. Scott looked at everything and said, look, you need to set up a domestic asset trust. You need to put your assets over here. This is going to protect. This is going to allow you to grow, put your money where you need to do and not have to worry about lawsuits, not have to worry about XYZ. And it's great for tax planning as you pass the baton, if you will, on. So there's a lot of things that you will grow into. But for Paige and I, knowing what that baseline is, if I pass away, if she passes away, the baseline isn't much different. I need about $1 million setting there versus $2 million to be able to continue that growth pattern that's needed. Not touching the principal, the growing. Now, the net worth that she would have at that time is substantially higher than what the liquid financial freedom quotient is. The assets that we own, the real estate that we own, the stocks, the crypto, the metals, all of that stuff adds into, okay, that also is going to appreciate. So as we draw to a close today, what I want you guys to understand is you have to know what your value is. if you're truly moving into that you economy, that youpreneur, you're going to do some things, you're going to go out there and crank, then you need to be prepared for that. You need to be able to go forward. And I want you guys to be focused on this. We're going to do a full course on this. When the website launches, we will have one on financial freedom, understanding. I think the team's putting together some worksheets that you'll just be able to go in and use down the road when that. Hey, as we draw to a close, these are 8 side hustles that most people are not thinking about. So if you're at your full-time career, your job, you're wanting to move into something on the side, try to get your feet wet, you're not into the network marketing thing, you just want something that feels good. Number one, look at what you're currently doing and what do you love to do. Because the fact of the matter is, even when we set out here about financial freedom, when we look at retirement, doesn't matter what it is. Look, most of us aren't going to quit working. What we're going to do is do something we like. Harry Wilkes, who's a dear friend of mine, just called me. Harry's in his 70s, and he's always doing a side hustle, whether he's working with his son at the carpentry shop, whether he's doing something. He's a agent over at David Allen Capital. So he's out there hustling, talking to business owners all the time. Doesn't matter what, he's always got a side hustle, even at 71, totally retired from the military. His wife's a retired school teacher. They're still doing stuff on the side. That's just the way our life is. So that's just going to be a given. So here's what I want you to look at. 8 side hustles you can take a peek at. Number 1 is listening services. You'd be amazed at how many people are out there. Hire somebody that does listening, and that's become a big one. Number 2 is errand runners. We see that right now. Now in our neck of the woods, Publix, which is one of the grocery stores, has just done what Walmart and all these big companies done, and they now have a delivery service. So we go online, page will order the food. Hour and a half later, you've got this guy that comes by and drops the food off. Okay, that's a side hustle. That's there. Number 3, garden consultant. If you guys are in the horticultural industry, you have a passion for gardening, for going green, there's actually a side hustle where you consult with other people to set up their gardens. Number 4, never heard of this one, live insect wholesaler. There's actually people out there that buy ants, flies, mosquitoes, stuff like, because they use them to feed probably snakes, reptiles, stuff like that. I don't know. It's not my side hustle at all. Number 5, space organizer. Now this is a big one. I've seen this on HGTV. They literally hire people to come in, help you redesign the house, get rid of stuff, simplify your life, how to store it, how to get it going. There's that. Private security. I had one of my sons done this for years. It's a side gig. He's a bouncer at some clubs. You can do that as a side for yourself. Number 7, flipping antiques or collectibles. Now that's one I didn't know about either. There are people out there that literally look for stuff. And I guess at the end of the day, I should have thought that through, because my 16-year-old Jetty has been flipping collectibles, comics, pop, stuff like that for the last 2 or 3 years, and made a pretty decent little gig out of that one. And number 8 is this one cracks me up, a breakup consultant. So there's actually there's a full-blown side hustle that you can be the person that helps someone break up with somebody else. These are crazy side hustles, but this shows that creativity of people saying, hey, I'm going to go out there and do something that I want to do, something that I like. And that's the crazy thing about it. Guys, remember, stay humble, stay strong. And you've been listening to the voice of Main Street America. Thank you.